And we're back. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to my live stream. Let's start with the same thing as always. The music in the background is Welcome to the Show, licensed under Creative Commons 4.0. It's by Kevin MacLeod and you can download it for free at incompetech.com. Yep. That is where you can download the music. It's free. Go get it. Okay, we're back here. As you can see, these were the videos or the content that I watched earlier. I just took a break and now I'm back. It was a very long break.
Hey everyone, it's indeed.
Oh, by the way, you can watch the video from the thumbnail on the front page. All you have to do is mouse over it. I guess maybe that is the reason why YouTube is experimenting on large thumbnails, so that if you just want to watch the video on the front page as a thumbnail, I guess you can. But why would you want to do that when you can watch the video in a bigger format? What games are perfect? Ooh, okay, this was like 31 minutes ago. Okay, this is from Lack of Entertainment
channel, and it was.
Let's go check this out.
Now, I already talked about this on my other channel, and it was through the political lens. But after I finished making the video, I realized that I have seen this message before. I have seen it in the world of entertainment. And this message
Yep, it's just
what I've said in the other,
perfect.
which is why woke people are incapable of making good art. And I will remind you what the message is.
One of the reasons why is that they can criticize,
She is
and you are not allowed to criticize them.
U.S.
You can only say good things about them, and you can only say good things about their work.
It's someone
Guess what?
with knowledge
If
from the inside
you can't be honest with
to the mainstream media.
your criticism, they'll think that their work is good when it's not,
Basically that no, the Democrats
and you'll end up with a
absolutely perfect.
bad to mediocre
Nothing can be.
product or games in this case.
But wait, they would do the exact same thing. Because changing anything would imply that they are fallible, that they didn't understand what they're doing, and that is not acceptable. That they have to display level of godlike perfection. And you get to see that some individuals are coming up and they're saying that, well, it is a messaging issue, and immediately like, no, the messaging isn't the problem, is the problem that America has racism. So I guess like the solution is for the Democrats to keep nagging. And as you get to see, like other messages are saying, yeah, this is absolutely right. The Democrats need to stand tall and resist. Like no negotiation, no compromise, no self-reflection. And I'm like, where did I see this before? Like, this is not something new. This is something that I have seen for the last 4 years. And then I realized that this is exactly what's happening in entertainment. This is why The Acolyte failed. This is why Lord of Rings of Power Plus Privilege failed. This is why Concord failed. This is why Suicide Squad and many other productions have ended up failing, including Forspoken. And every single time, you get to notice the same playbook. The people pushing for the product, again, whether it's Forspoken or Concord or anything like that, they pretend that their product is perfect. That their product has nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's a 10 out of 10 game. And it's the people who are wrong. And this is coming from the mindset where they believe that the people are uneducated, the people are dumb, and they don't care what the people think. In fact, if you go on many of these game journalist websites, you will see that the comments have this ability.
That is what I'm saying. They don't actually have any power.
You also go and you look
So
at the game developers.
let them think that way,
They
and we will
about them
continue.
at all. Because they
We will continue
hold the answers. They believe
with what we are doing, and that is
it's the customer. You know, the customer is a racist.
voting or
That's why the game is
making decisions based on our wallets.
of ideas. The set
The real power. You have
that
the power. You have the real power.
remove the word feminine.
These game studios, these game publishers, these game developers, they don't have any power over you.
They need to look like men in wigs.
That's why
This is the moral thing.
you shouldn't give them your money.
It's not about anything else besides ethics. Like it's unethical. To,
If you continue giving them your money, even though they're producing,
it's not
excuse
because
me,
they made the
even though they are producing crap,
choice.
it means they have power over you, which is not true.
The idea is that if they keep doing
You
it,
have power over them
eventually the customer
because you are the consumer
and they will become.
and they want your money.
And this is exactly what we see in the realm of
And if they are
that are basically suggesting
if they are talking down to you,
because they're not.
if they are calling you stupid,
And
if they hate you,
they keep this
it doesn't make sense for you to give them your money.
But it's also interesting when you're looking at Concord and you're studying the history of that game because it seems to be right now the biggest failure in gaming history, not just this year, but in history. Like it's probably going to be a worse game than E.T., which is a video game made back in the day based off of the famous movie Extraterrestrials, and it sold so poorly that it actually killed the Atari. There's still copies of E.T. buried in the Nevada desert because they didn't have anything to do with them. And I think Concord actually beat that. Like, it's actually now in gaming history. And it costs around $400 million to make, like, massive failure. And when you read the history of it, you realize that they had this thing called toxic positivity, where within the development team, like within the actual game developers, they weren't allowed to say anything negative about the game. Like, even if a developer would see that the characters are unappealing, they lack grace, they don't look heroic, like it's not going to sell, they weren't allowed to express any of that because of the culture of toxic positivity. And this type of culture reminds me of growing up amongst evangelicals. Like, this was the type of culture that religious fanatics used to have. And that is like the person that
Actually, religious fanatics are quite extreme.
claim to have interpreted
They're
the
quite extreme.
better than anyone else. And you
They
can't
they will not praise you if you're doing something that is
speak on behalf
they don't seem they don't tend or they don't think is right.
don't work or end up.
But with wokeness,
It's not that the message was
you can't do that.
divine.
It's all praises. Oh my goodness, that character design is
exact mind.
amazing, even though it looks shit.
They genuinely believe that what's coming from academia, like diversity is our strength, representation is important, inclusivity is the way forward, that cannot be questioned. Like, there is no poking at the message because the message itself is divine. It's coming from the academia. It's infallible. So when the message is applied, if it produces a different result, like let's say you have anti-racist courses and it actually ends up making people more racist rather than less, it's not that the message was wrong or that the methodology was problematic or that some introspection is required. No, it's simply that the people are wrong. The people are evil. The people lack ethics. The people lack compassion or empathy. because everything up until that point is perfect. And that can be the only piece of the puzzle that would explain why the result wasn't the way they wanted. And they can't make good games. This is why, like, criticizing and saying that a game is woke is valid criticism, because when you make a video game or when you make art, you gotta be open to criticism. You gotta allow people to say, well, yeah, like,
And honestly,
well, or I didn't
getting or receiving negative feedback
like, you gotta
is
to these types of
quite hurtful.
But if you're close-minded,
But
you're basically thinking that every,
that's just how things are. If you want to improve yourself,
especially not your
you need to be able to receive negative feedback. For example, with my channel,
accomplish that.
they say that my content is boring. But the problem is,
You have a first-person shooter like Quake.
I don't know how to improve it.
Like, well, you know, why doesn't
Because
ever reload the weapon? Like, that would be a fun mechanic.
what you hear in my channel is actually just me.
And when you reload the weapon, it has a new strategy.
How do I change myself to not be less boring? I don't know how to do that.
Like, if you're with the mindset that, no, the game is perfect, you don't need to change anything, people are wrong, you're not going to improve. You're not even going to apply that. Or the way woke people do it is that, okay, well, reloading the weapon would probably look good, but who suggested it? Oh, it's a Trump supporter. If a Trump
Should I act crazy?
we can't listen to him because that would...
Or maybe should I make a character like Dr. Disrespect?
Someone says a game is woke, they're also referring to the people who made the game. And
I don't know.
made the game with this mindset
It's like saying you should change yourself.
to create a good product.
It's gonna be hard to do.
Of bigotry and manage to create works of art. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section.
There you go. Woke games are perfect. Indeed they are. They're so perfect that they are selling in the millions. Dustborn is a perfect game. It's just that it got released in an imperfect world. The game is not the problem. It's perfect. The problem is the world. It got released in an imperfect world. Let's see what this is. I'm not going to watch celebrity meltdowns. It's so cringe. All you have to do is take note who these celebrities are and never ever give them your money. Okay, I've seen the new Star Wars trilogy. I have zero interest in this skeleton crew. I don't care what happens to it. Okay, I'm going to watch this one. I was wrong, says Legendary Drops. Let's go check this one out.
Look, I can admit when I'm wrong. I have humility. This is not going to be one of those times. I sent out a lot of very heavy-handed criticisms and some wild accusations for Dragon Age the Veilguard, but I didn't take the time to think about the fact that there might actually be some people out there that genuinely liked it. However, with
Of course, there are 8 billion people on the planet. There will be people who will genuinely enjoy this game.
the time to play Dragon Age the Veilguard, time that I very much wish that I could get back, and I have some thoughts to share. A lot has happened since this game's release. A lot of things have been talked about. It is now being heralded as one of the front runners for the Golden Joysticks Game of the Year, likely even the Game Awards as well. It's being praised like it's the second coming. It's being flung in the face of every single gamer that's out there as proof that their way is the right way. So,
Nah. Nah.
sponsor.
Again, guys, you have the power. They don't have
crowded room. Everyone
single ounce of power over you.
is here to secure your data.
What they want is your money,
Hides your IP address and encrypts your
and that is your power.
digital life safe from prying eyes.
Your power is not to give them your money,
Is incredibly important.
because without money,
Is
they
all
won't exist.
I want to try to keep it as private as
And that is the truth of things.
access global.
The bottom line of everything is money,
One country
especially if it's a business.
unlock shows, sports, and exclusive.
Even charities.
As easy as me.
Charities need money.
I want to go.
A charity will not exist
For a gamer,
if you don't give them money.
access region-locked games, reduce your ping, and even protect yourself against DDoS attacks. One subscription protects your entire household. Private internet access works across all devices, phones, laptops, tablets, even game consoles. Private internet access is the world's most transparent VPN with a proven no-logs policy. Your data stays yours. Over 300 million downloads show it's a VPN that you can trust. Right now, get private internet access for 83% off. That's just $2.03 a month with 4 extra months for free. Try it risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And this is an exclusive deal just for my channel using a product that I already use and a product that I trust. Your privacy is just as valuable.
In my case, the VPN I use is Proton VPN, and
In the pin comment,
I'm not even subscribed to it. I'm using the free option.
access with 4 months
I don't use it often though.
private internet access for sponsoring this video. Now, initially, I was not going to play Dragon Age the Veilguard. I had made my stance pretty clear
Even though the free option is unlimited,
watching the trailers. However,
the speed is not, or the bandwidth is not that
this game
large. It's limited. The bandwidth is limited, but the access is unlimited.
that I needed to play this game before I speak on it any further. Call it journalistic integrity or what have you. I honestly just wanted to see if my thoughts were completely unfounded, and lo and behold, they weren't. Well, kind of. Now, I'll start off by saying I wasn't expecting this game to run so well. I had to fiddle with a couple of settings, but that's more of a limitation of my own hardware, not necessarily the game. Fidelity-wise, this game has to have some of the most breathtaking environments that I have seen this year outside of Black Myth Wukong. The locations that you visit are highly detailed, vibrant, and genuinely a joy to explore and walk around in. Now, I would have enjoyed these environments more if it didn't feel like I was being railroaded through this game at every given second, but I think that's something that just ties back to this franchise losing its identity as an RPG and evolving into an action game. Quests are in a mission structure. You finish a quest, it pops you back out at your base, another quest starts, and you go again. There is no effort to allow the player to gain any familiarity with this world and its locations. I have some odd 500 hours in Baldur's Gate 3. I know its maps like the back of my hand. I'm familiar with that game, not because of how long I've played Baldur's Gate 3, but it's how long Baldur's Gate kept you in place, how diverse those environments were, how they made use of them, how many different things there were to do, and how memorable the moments were in
And you can see where that could be a problem.
any narrative-driven game RPG, and it's ultimately what makes
It's supposed to be a role-playing game, but obviously the fans are expecting a role-playing game, but what they got is an action adventure.
characters.
Not to mention that it's
Why would you care about
an LGBTQ plus game.
the only way
So if you're not LGBTQ
getting you in
gamer, if you're not an LGBTQ plus gamer,
and characters are so compelling, it doesn't matter.
you'll be shocked and confused as
Dragon Age the Veilguard. This has to be the most vapid
to why the game is like this or like that.
displeasure of playing through. The premise holds
And that is where the problem happens,
old ally
or
gone
happened, or started.
rich with tension and betrayal, but just as quickly the potential is then snatched away and replaced.
It all boils down to proper communication and information. There's nothing wrong in making an LGBTQ plus game. There's nothing wrong in making an action adventure game. But you must properly communicate
It's just so hollow for a game
the changes to your audience
franchise that has such
so that they know what they are getting.
only digs a deeper grave.
And they can make
Forced all quips and
a decision earlier before buying the game, whether they want to play an action adventure and an LGBTQ plus game or not.
feels like it was written by a committee of socially
The
anxious.
problem with
Every character
most woke games is that they try to hide that it's woke.
It's like I've said before, so many people today are
or they don't even mention it in the marketing.
characters.
Again, proper communication.
With Veilguard is that
These people, wokes are,
it's combat and just
for some weird reason, they claim they're more intelligent,
none of it makes
yet they don't know how to communicate properly.
It's crazy to look around and see that there's so many
Well, I'm not surprised, I guess, because they don't even know the meaning of
what it is.
words.
It's a game that thinks it can win you
For example,
battles and shit.
inclusivity. Their definition of inclusivity is that
It wasn't too bad. The general
you are included
but once
as long as
the same routine over and over,
you agree with their beliefs and opinions.
without any sense of purpose
If not,
into this world.
you are excluded. So their meaning of inclusivity is bigotry.
The same abilities.
They're actually bigots. They're not inclusive.
Got to the point where I kept dying, not because I was being
So there you go. We have wokes have their own definitions of words, while the general public
Veilguard.
has their own definition of words.
Talking to a few others who actually liked the game, I came to the realization that it's just a difference of taste and expectations. Baldur's Gate 3 set the bar for me. They made believable characters that made sense in their setting. Every piece of music was memorable, every character story, relationship, and interaction had a purpose. The party dynamics in combat, the combination of skills and equipment, and the whole game tied everything together just so.
For example, as much as everyone is praising Baldur's Gate 3, I will never play the game.
Dragon Age and BioWare are the
Yeah, it's not because it's woke, it's because it's turn-based.
I would expect they would at least
I don't enjoy playing turn-based
exactly what I
games or games with turn-based combat.
memorable, highly consumable. It is if this is Dragon Age the Veilguard brought to you.
It has nothing to do whether the game is woke or not. It's just the genre of the game. It's a turn-based combat game. It's a role-playing game, but that has turn-based combat.
Don't really care about
And again, I don't enjoy playing. Besides maybe
characters. Something
Final Fantasy.
that's relatively shallow, and that's not a strike against the people that enjoy the game. Sometimes that's fun. I mean, I had a girlfriend that forced me to watch Gossip Girl. To my friends, I acted like I had a gun to my head, but in all reality, I was rooting for Blair and Chuck. I figured that this game would have mixed receptions. That's another thing that I got wrong. But what I didn't realize is that this game is so divisive that the people who saw and liked what they saw got it, and the people that didn't. It's kind of like a vegan restaurant. Like, people that eat meat typically aren't going to go there. It's filtering reviews by itself. So that's what
It should have never been divisive.
opinion on this game in review.
If the game was what the game was properly communicated.
Still hold the exact same criticisms and beliefs that I had when I made my first video on this. Because the thing is that I believe that reviewers, professional reviewers, have a responsibility to critically review games. And with the way that this game got the red carpet treatment, how it's been touted, how it's been lauded, especially on Twitter, how it's now all of a sudden a Game of the Year candidate, none of that feels right. This isn't that game. But damn, do they want it to be. With years of controversies, forced messaging, and colossal failures in AAA came the rise of angry gamers. Journalists, reviewers, and legacy media outlets have been ignoring the elephant in the room and opting to either disregard or minimize any of the discussions about how games are being co-opted into identity politics and how players don't want to have anything to do with it. All of this has led to a massive decline in media credibility. I've spoke on this subject in the past, and I believe that there are some in game development as well as games media that now view players or specific factions of players as the opposition. As such, it's now created this feedback loop, an echo chamber, where developers feel vindicated in releasing games that players are critical of, and the media either fully validates their poor decisions or gently pats them with a 7 out of 10. Players have often used sales or the success of a game to shove in the face of both developers and journalists. We've seen it with Baldur's Gate 3, Helldivers 2, Palworld, Black Myth Wukong, and more, simply showing that these are the things that players care about. Baldur's Gate 3 was treated like it was an anomaly, impossible to recreate. Helldivers 2 left them speechless. Palworld was nothing but cope and seethe over the confusion as to why players ignored them, calling it a ripoff, and played it anyway. Black Myth Wukong, well, that was just Chinese players, and apparently they don't count, and the excuses continue to pile up. While some players have used these games as a battle won in a culture war, many, if not most, view these as victories of games that were just good games. not affirming some social or political belief, simply fun games with the absence of identity politics. I just don't think these people have come to the realization that in a lot of cases, they aren't fighting against the opposition, they're fighting against supporters who just are sick and tired of seeing the same social political messaging everywhere they go. And the last thing that they want to do is buy a product thinking it's a game, only to find out it's a soapbox in disguise.
There you go, again. Proper communication and information.
Games media and game development are tired of taking losses.
They bought something and then later
Put up a game on a pedestal.
found out it wasn't that thing that they were expecting
Causes.
because it was not properly communicated.
But validate my concerns that the industry
All this problem can be solved
not genuine.
with proper communication.
Some may have enjoyed it. It's getting more favorable treatment than it normally would because it's their sword in a culture war. Look at how
And the game publishers will not do that because that is self-sabotage.
gamers now, seeing that the game
They know that it's an LGBTQ plus woke game.
antagonize
Of course they know.
percentage inflation to make it seem as though the game is more popular.
And they also know that it wouldn't sell. The general gaming audience will not buy it. Sure, the target audience, which is the LGBTQ plus or woke games or modern audience, sure,
Seen other
those will buy it. But if they want to make it a successful game, they need the general gaming audience to buy the game as well. That's why they don't market it
other than word of mouth.
as
Say about
a niche game. They market it as a game for everybody, which is not true.
studios and
So when
making games, especially
a gamer that is not the target audience buys the game,
this game is a
plays it,
success.
then obviously realize that it's not a game for him.
Fraction of what the game sales are. That's just
Of course, there will be backlash.
time.
The gamer will complain and he will leave a negative review and at worst even refund the game if
Black Myth Wukong showed
it's still within the refund period.
over 450 concurrent players with 12 million in sales, giving it a multiplier that's closer to like 26.7. But based on these patterns, we can estimate the Dragon Age the Veilguard at its peak of 90k concurrent players may have sold between 1.1 or 2.4 million copies. Average that around at about 2 million, I guess. I have zero doubt the Dragon Age the Veilguard cost $200 million or more to make, seeing that it took 10 years to develop. They are still quite a bit shy of what they need.
And that doesn't include marketing.
Those sales are coming.
It's just development costs. There's still marketing.
While the media may think it's a smash hit, I'm not sure that EA's investors will think the exact same thing, and if the game simply turns
That's why, guys, you have the power. You don't have to consume shit.
persistent disregard for genuine player
If you see it's shit, as they say, if it looks like shit, it smells like shit,
great, but it's nothing
you
compared
don't have to taste it to know it's shit because it's more probably is shit.
over ideological messaging. Yet, with Dragon Age the Veilguard, the media's inflated response and its praise seems less about the game's actual merits and more about positioning it as a cultural symbol more than anything else. This approach might satisfy certain narratives, but ultimately, it's a hollow victory. And that's the thing, when I'm talking about these games breaking, smashing through sales records and concurrent player numbers, it's about how these games can be financially successful, because that's important. That leads to these developers holding on to their jobs and also creating a better image of the intended audience that these games are for. It's not about social messaging, it's about the lack thereof being a factor in it. And Dragon Age, yeah, it can reach a respectable player count, likely held up by the fact that it's a long-standing franchise, but when you make a divisive game, you're going to divide your audience. Crazy concept, I know, but that's how this works, and I don't really think that this
And the division is not even in half.
EA to see
It's like
worthwhile investment.
10,
Even if they
10% to 90%.
bit, it's probably still not going to be enough for them to say, yeah,
The division is not 50-50, it's 10-90.
be wrong, but I think
At most, it's 20-80.
echo chamber where we have games media, journalists, reviewers that are handing out these participation trophies in an otherwise hollow victory, and they don't realize the harm that they're doing to the industry or to these studios.
Of course, they don't care. As long as they're getting paid. Because most of these people are not actual gamers.
Creative freedom
They're just there to make money from
development.
gamers and our hobby.
Mind that if you want to stay
They're not actual gamers.
selling a product,
That's why I heard someone
be
say that game reviewers should at least complete the game before they write their reviews, and they should live stream it so that the consumers know that they actually played the game.
and how much I love that.
Because there's the chance that many of these so-called game reviewers, they don't even play the game. They just look at gameplay or just reference or just
this discussion.
read other writers' reviews about the game and then base their own reviews on that.
Created it without sacrificing quality, without treating the players like their children, without
And it's not unlikely because I just thought of it. Again, 8 billion people on the planet. If you think you thought of something unique, you're wrong. Somebody else also thought about it.
wrote an article titled
It's just a matter of who
"Clumsy, Preachy, Political Good."
works on it or who acts on it.
One of your point of view is generally not to bash them over the head with a cudgel, though that seems to be the preferred approach in modern political discourse and, alas, in entertainment. The culture, being what it is, has lost all sense of subtlety. In far too many films, television shows, and video games, we see heavy-handed, top-down approaches to the issues of the day. It's a real shame that the developers at BioWare decided to go this route with Dragon Age: The Veilguard. I've already posted my impressions piece about the game, which I was pleasantly surprised with so far. I was worried going in, but Veilguard has been a lot more fun and a lot more engaging than I expected, even if I'm still annoyed with its overly saturated, overly cartoonish art style, among other things. In my piece, I noted, so far at least, I hadn't encountered anything overtly preachy, or one might describe as garishly political or overly woke. The game is diverse and it gives you options to play as male, female, or trans, but in my time with it, this felt more like it was giving players more choice and freedom, and I'm all for that, especially in an RPG. Other big games in recent years have done the same. But I had not yet arrived at a certain section of the game that has now been making the rounds on social media, being roundly and rightfully mocked. Unfortunately, this scene in question will play directly into the narrative that this game is woke, feeding into a cycle of online discourse that goes nowhere but earns a lot of clicks. It will undoubtedly turn many gamers off entirely, not necessarily because they're unsympathetic to trans rights, but because they're tired of being preached at. In the scene in question, one character misgenders another. To atone for this sin, she does a set of push-ups and then lectures the other characters on how to apologize properly. The term non-binary is thrown around, despite it being a word that very few have even heard of when Dragon Age Inquisition came out a decade ago, let alone in a fantasy setting divorced entirely from the real world. This is immersion breaking. Frankly, it is written so poorly that it comes across as self-parody. The character's performative apology is shallow and empty, as all performance.
I'm pretty sure in the world of Dragon Age, it's a fantasy game.
How much better your apology is. The whole scene feels fresh.
I would assume that
In an undergrad gender studies class in
gender or genders like non-binary,
undergrads will someday.
it doesn't exist in such a world.
Again, my problem with this scene is not the inclusion of trans or non-binary characters in Dragon Age.
It's just the writers current daying the game.
It goes on to explain that they had read a book that was called The Book.
And people are tired of it.
Female character that
That's why you have the power.
the book was never
It's not He-Man. He-Man doesn't have the power.
character rather than the identity and their struggles as a person. Later, the writer continues to go.
Even though he,
Alas, this will undoubtedly dominate the.
I guess you can say he shouts it, that he has the power. No, he doesn't have the power. You have the power.
People that are hostile towards social justice politics become convinced otherwise. That's the problem with preaching to the choir. Someone not normally inclined to be sympathetic towards trans people might read The Bright Sword and
Also, the thing is, if people wants to get preached on,
instead
they
having this type of 21st century
they'd rather go to their church
modern era
and have their pastor
through a
preach on them than some random writer.
Kane here. I got to give credit where credit is due. I've been
Some random writer that can't even write proper dialogues that are not cringe.
It's not the inclusion of these themes, it's the matter in which they are used and how they are forced upon the player. This preachy approach that Dragon Age the Veilguard takes with inclusivity and gender identity in many ways only helps to reinforce negative stereotypes more than anything else. There is a scene in Dragon Age the Veilguard where Tosh comes out as non-binary. Everyone has seen this clip by now. In it, Tosh is irrationally angry when met with confusion, lashing out at someone who genuinely cares for them but just doesn't understand. What is the message with that exactly? Don't ask questions. Don't try to understand. Don't think at all. Just accept. And oh, if you make a mistake, drop down and give me 20. I mentioned this when I streamed the game, but it feels like a lot of the dialogue was written from the perspective of a...
Again, you can weaponize this if you are in places where misgendering is a crime.
Cheers them on in the background. This is the exact kind of dialogue and representation that the media...
Imagine you're talking to somebody and you're a man.
Far more to her.
Of course, they look at you and they will assume that you uses the he/him pronoun,
Their damnness.
and they talk to you and eventually during the conversation, they'll eventually use a pronoun.
Heavy-handed
And
treatment.
if they use the he/him pronoun, you can immediately claim that they are misgendering you because
Sharing clips and
they were assuming your gender, and you can claim that you are not actually a man but a
Paul Tossing
gender fluid,
players
and your pronouns
now calls for
at that point is she, her. So
DEI
they were misgendering you at that point.
Dragon Age the Veilguard. Silencing criticism in the gaming industry.
And you can call the authorities and have them arrested.
Players get better games. When developers and publishers are dismissing feedback,
It may sound insane, right? It sounds insane,
especially regarding how
but
represented and
I'm pretty sure it's happening somewhere.
to learn and grow. Players are not inherently against inclusivity. Rather, they are just resistant to the weaponized version that we've seen in many games on these important topics.
The thing is, here's the thing. The thing is, anything they invent
Inclusivity
and create,
connect within the narrative and the game.
in their minds, they are obviously using it as a weapon. But what they don't know is that you can also use it as a weapon.
Embodiments of their identity.
You can just ignore for a few minutes your own beliefs and ideas
Are seamlessly
and embrace it for a few seconds and use it as a weapon against them.
experience. Players want to connect with characters on a personal level. They want to connect with these games on a personal level, appreciating the struggles and
What I'm saying is you can exploit it.
larger parts of
If you're a gamer, gamers love exploiting loopholes.
people that are obsessed with
If you're a gamer, you'll know how to exploit that particular loophole.
care whether the players want it or not, and they don't even recognize
If you can't, then are you really a gamer? Come on. Gamers love to exploit loopholes.
Little people realize that players, consumers, anybody wants to be spoken to, not at. And that's just what it feels like anymore. And this whole dynamic that we have that's going on, where it's us versus them, where it's these industry heads as well as folks in games journalism that are gaslighting players into buying products that they otherwise would avoid, that's not
There you go. There's the problem. That is the problem.
what they want. But
Again, proper communication. It's more like a scam at this point.
trying to
They
back
are scamming gamers.
their, ideological beliefs are, well, you can't get your money back from that.
All they have to do is be honest. Be honest about
Whether or not it's something that people
the
are
game.
interested in, they need to see it.
They produce a game. This game is made for the LGBTQ plus gamers.
If it's something that I
You, as a non-LGBT plus gamer,
game
obviously,
I believe got more favorable
it's up to you whether to still buy it or not.
as a purely
So you can make an informed
the game was
purchase.
for a little bit, but the thing is,
But what they're doing is that they don't tell you anything.
and the narrative
You just assume that
writing character
it's the same game, or it is not different from the games that you previously played and enjoyed playing.
what are the mental
And then
you have to go
after paying for it, you'll be shocked that it's
these are the same.
vastly different and it's a totally different game.
How do you play Metaphor and give it an 8, 9, and 10, and then you go and play Dragon Age the Veilguard and say, yeah, it's about the same thing? What? What? Am I the crazy one here? Like, I just don't understand. Like, make it make sense, because it doesn't make any sense to me. These are two completely different things, and when you could play both of those games, when you did play both of those games, sorry, back to back, and that's what you came out with, I don't even know how you get there. I don't. The quality difference in writing and everything is just so vastly different. And now this game is going to be a Game of the Year candidate. It's already in for the Golden Joysticks. You better bet it'll be in for the Game of the Year awards as well. It's likely going to...
The Game Awards is shit.
And
Okay.
people in the
I've
industry
never watched it.
lessons. And it's also going to end up leading to customers
It
buying
is another platform for woke ideology.
regretting that purchase later.
They're using it as a platform, not to launch or to reward games, but to as a platform to push this woke ideology.
We've had with past games.
Again, the current woke ideology is a corrupted version of the original woke ideology,
Shit.
which is basically social justice.
The same thing.
Now it's just mean.
They want to be Isn't that interesting how that works?
It means pushing identity politics,
Playing more metaphor.
being
Enjoying that game.
asshole to your customers,
Bit of a
being nasty,
wake-up call. Anyway,
all the bad things you can think of.
video. If you guys enjoyed it, like the video, share the video with your friends, subscribe to the channel. You guys can catch me live on Twitch. The link is down in the description below.
Okay, so that was that. Over here, this is a live stream. I can't watch this. It's kind of long. I'm guessing. This is also a live stream. Western companies want to control anime and manga. Why? What is this? It's Lifu Lifu. I think I'm subscribed to Lifu Lifu. Okay, what is this? Bearing. Ooh, we have a bear in the picture, and the channel is Bearing. This one is a live stream or a podcast. I've seen this already. This was very funny. I've only seen clips of this, but this was very funny. This woman right there, obviously knows nothing about the common people. Okay, this one is interesting. But this is 42 minutes long. I'm going to do this in another video. It's 42 minutes long. Twitch has pulled the plug. Dragon Age, the Veilguard is a massive letdown, but the why matters. Okay, the why is it a massive letdown? Because they drastically change the game or the genre where the game exists. The writing is bad, and they tried to sell it to everyone when they know it's for a niche audience. Same writer. This explains all the terrible things. This we have. I don't know who this is. Smug Alana Clips. Okay, still scrolling down here. I've had enough. Okay, let's go check this one because we have this guy here. Forgot what his name is, but he's like a comedian or something.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left.
Mark safe from communism today.
After Years of going through this nonsense, after years of these push polls, these fake polls, these scam polls, these suppression polls, whatever you want to call them, it seems as though the left finally wants to have the conversation. You know, I think they're finally realizing that these push polls don't exactly help them. Gaslighting your entire base.
I can't believe that with almost 2 billion people, the Chinese people are tolerating communism.
The greatest of scenarios now.
It doesn't make sense. I guess they got
Significant changes in
the brainwashing is like deep.
about that. I want to show you guys a clip from John.
That could be the answer to that. It's just that the brainwashing
We got some stuff to get into, so let's
is super deep.
So just take a look at this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Daily Show. We don't...
Stewart, I think his last name is Stewart something.
what all the results are going to be.
I'm blanking.
Time is running out.
I'm blanking. My mind is blanking to its name. What is your name again?
All the pollsters, the election pollsters, blow me. I don't ever want to from you again, ever. I don't ever want to hear, we've corrected for the overcorrection of the voters. You don't know about
Is it Ron Stewart? I guess I'm wrong.
Well, you know exactly what that means, right? You know exactly what needs to be said here. There's only one appropriate response. We told you so. Oh, that feels good. You know, it's yet again another victory lap. After years and years of being gaslit and being told that we're the crazy people, we're the ones...
I'm pretty sure his name is not Don Lemon.
Those are just Republican bias garbage polls. After all of this, I think the conversation is now over. The polling industry is either incompetent or utterly corrupt. I'm not going to delve into theories and suggest that I know definitively that there's foul play, but I'll tell you one thing, I certainly suspect it. It's like I've been saying, frankly, for years, but really, I've been talking a lot about it lately. It's obvious what these pollsters are doing. They're putting their thumbs on the scale. It's time to realize that, and really, leftoids, it's time to get out of your bubble, and it's time to join us in the real world, in reality town. You know, it's time to log off from Kamala Harris's Fortnite Freedom Town and join us in the real world. You are being played. You got a bunch of corporate entities here, big money corporations, institutions, the powers that be, let's call them, who are doing it on purpose. They're manipulating you. They want you tuned in constantly, eyes glued to TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, getting fed 24/7 propaganda, turning on the TV, eyes glued to the screen on CNN and MSNBC. Oh, Donald Trump's campaign is flailing. Kamala Harris is leading everywhere. She's likely to win. A constant barrage of fake narratives, fake news, fear-mongering nonsense, and fake polls. Wake up, snap out of it. It's obviously a manipulation. It's obviously a mirage that they've created to keep you controlled, subservient. You know, that's probably why the reaction is always so emotional when Donald Trump ends up winning, because they're not prepared for it. You're living in a bubble. You know, I noticed this all over social media in the election aftermath. So many people asking, how could this happen? Where did this come from? It's obvious.
Many of them,
gotten it. The writing was on the wall. The writing has been on.
They felt fake.
From 2016 to 2020.
It's like they're doing a performance. Oh wait, Donald Trump won. Okay. I need to record myself melting down. It will give me a lot of views. I'm pretty sure of it. So there you go. Again, if I thought about it, 8 billion people, a lot of other people have thought about it.
You have the copium left continuing to come back to these Quinnipiac polls. Marist, the Morning Compost, New York Times Siena. Horrible pollsters. Even Fox News sucks. It's totally wild. You have these pollsters that release their results and they say, we have a margin of error of 2.5 to 3 points. Give me a break. You know, this coming from the pollsters who are off by anywhere from 5 to 6 to sometimes 10 over the last couple of election cycles. Now, I have to admit the pollsters have gotten a little bit better this season, but look at last election. Look at 2016. You had some polls suggesting that Joe Biden's ahead by 15 points. Are you leftoids gonna wake up and realize that you're being lied to? I think it's finally time to come to that realization. North Carolina was never in play. The one poll that you guys were relying on, like I keep saying, oversampled Democrats by 8 points. In red North Carolina, as if there's 8% more Democrats in the state. That is insane. And yet you guys led with that, suggesting that North Carolina's a swing state, and then spent millions upon millions of dollars in the state trying to flip it. You're out of your minds. Texas is in play. Colin Allred's gonna beat Ted Cruz. You're out of your mind. Trump won Texas by what, like 13 points this time? All the Democrat gains we've seen over the last decade and a half wiped out. Over. So much for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's prediction that Texas is gonna turn blue in the near future. Texas was never in play. Iowa was never in play. These pollsters are lying to you. They're manipulating you. They're manipulating your emotions. But most importantly, they're trying to manipulate sentiment. And it's gotta stop. People gotta start paying attention to the crosstabs. You know, none of it made sense. We've got party identification soaring to all-time highs for Republicans, Republican voter registration in the most important big swing states, all trending right, Republicans making gains in the hundreds of thousands when it comes to party registration, yet your polls continue to show huge Democrat oversampling. It's completely absurd, and that's why me and my colleagues in the independent right-space media got it right this time. You know, in 2020, we didn't get it right, but in 2020, we might have underestimated a couple factors and overestimated the polling misses. But fundamentally, even though we got the election wrong, we were still right when it came to the general inaccuracy of these polls. And now this time, we're totally vindicated. Absolutely and utterly vindicated. These polls are garbage. They're obviously being manipulated. They're putting their thumbs on the scale. And you leftists who continue to get fooled by them, well, there's only one appropriate thing to say.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
You played yourselves. And you know, at this point, I think the denial has to stop. There's been so much denial within the Democrat Party. They just block their ears and close their eyes and pretend as if nothing's happening. You know, all kinds of flashing warning signs that Democrats are essentially losing their base. You're losing black voters, Hispanic voters. You're not making the gains you think you are with female voters. You're losing the working class. And the Democrat response was, that's not actually happening. Look at our push poll. That makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Take the blinders off. Open your eyes. You people have lost the
Open your eyes and see
have this strong
your
feeling
loving motion
continue living in their fantasy.
when it's cold
Maybe they see
outside.
because that environment gives them relevance. It gives them the platform to complain and whine and pretend as if they're the resistance, fighting against the impeding threat of fascism. Maybe it's all just one big LARP. I don't know what it is, but I know one thing. It's certainly ridiculous. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Just wanted to vent a little bit about the polls and frankly take my 2024 victory lap. I took a lot of heat for my 2020 election prediction, but I guess you could say I've been vindicated. And boy, does vindication feel swell.
Ah, there you go. The guy's name is John Stewart. Yeah, okay. It suddenly came to me. I said earlier it was Ron Stewart. It was, I guess it was kind of close. It's John. It's John. I tend to forget names, especially of those that I really don't care about. Let's see here. He regretted his words. Commentator humbled after laughing at women losing 900 medals to males. Oh my goodness. That is just insane. 900 medals to males. Women losing 9... What are you guys doing? Why are you trying to destroy women's sport? Too many little mermaids. Under the sea. Okay, Family Feud. I'm not sure if I'll get a copyright claim if I watch this. I try not to watch videos from big studios. Okay, like Fox News, because there is a big chance that you'll get a copyright claim. These people are extreme, or at least the people running them. They're so they don't want you taking their things. Independent media is more friendly. Oh, let's go watch this one. This is gonna be fun. It's a video of their reaction to the Super Heavy booster landing. It's when I first saw it, when I watched the the Super Heavy booster got caught by the chopstick, I was like almost crying. It made me tear up. Just a little bit of having water in my eyes. It's not actually crying, but it made me teared up. It was that's how emotional thing that was.
That's exactly the appropriate face.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, let's see their reaction to this one.
Where were you?
Look at that. That is amazing.
Skyscraper falling out of the sky.
Amazing. This is progress. People, I'm telling you now,
Creator Day 2000.
an orbital booster
And I
landing and getting caught
landing
by a pair of
Starship Flight
what they call chopsticks.
Florian, who
That is progress.
organizes for the Space Creator Day.
Men
In this video,
in colored dresses
the camera was then
parading with their dicks out,
speaker.
showing them to children.
So
That is not progress. That is not progress. That is just simply disgusting. This is progress.
here is our
You can hate me for that, but
caught the super.
what I'm saying is very true. This is progress. The thing that I said earlier, it's not. It's just disgusting.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Mission. Lift off.
Yeah.
We have liftoff.
All wrapped is healthy so far.
Vehicle pitching downrange.
Oh my god, sunrise, so beautiful. Another iconic shot from Starship launch.
Booster after chamber pressure nominal.
I'm pretty sure the schedule of the launch was, intended.
Some fell off.
It was done in the morning, early morning, so they could have a cinematic
Booster.
cinematic picture of the launch. It's all for marketing. There you go. If you look at all the pictures, they're all cinematic with the sun right in the background. That is for marketing. Also, everyone can see it.
Yeah, those are missing.
And the weather was perfect.
Coming up, it's gonna be
It's like
the engine.
Mother Nature agrees with Mother Nature. I'm going to give them a perfect weather for. That's what they got. That's what SpaceX got. They got a perfect weather.
3. Staging. Mission off.
Power on Stephen.
Oh, man, that was absolutely incredible. I love how the truck
I have one watched this 100 times already. It's just so amazing.
Maybe on.
Yeah, they shut down all three.
We did hear that the tower go. It's pretty much right overhead. You can see it starting to come down.
It was so cool that you could lift off.
Take us away from landing
It's
burn.
going to happen in 3 phases right now. 13
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Down through the plume.
Oh. The engine's closed.
Look at how fast that thing is falling. There was another video of it, and it was like zooming down from the sky. It was so fast. It was so scary. Because it was literally falling.
On the left hand.
Ignition. Oh my god. Are they doing it? All of them are still on.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
shut down of all of them, but three.
Raptor engines.
This is like watching all those sci-fi cartoons back in the day.
Last time too.
All the rockets were landing like this. Retroactively. Although they have like landing legs, but that was already achieved by by Falcon 9. Look at how amazing that was.
First ever attempt, we have successfully caught the
What the heck?
back at the launch tower.
On the first attempt! First attempt!
Kidding me?
Yeah.
That's exactly the appropriate face.
I mean, it's
For
still
what
on
just
fire.
Wow.
So catching an orbital booster is possible. They just proved it,
Sorry.
and they did it in. This was their first try.
Looked like magic.
You know what would be really, really funny if it would
Yeah.
explode now? Like, was it?
They had more failures landing the Falcon
One of them
on the ground.
S10 landed crooked because it landed
Yeah, and
too
then it
hard,
popped.
and then it popped later. And there's the fire. They don't have any fire suppression system. There's no fire extinguisher anywhere.
Of the Super Heavy
Have they not
booster,
installed
and it's
anything
just
on the
been
tower,
successfully
on the
caught
height?
back
Do you see anything?
No, not yet.
tower that it
But-
just came from. Dan, I love this. You are
Of course, this was not perfect. There were like a lot of problems that they saw after they checked the booster.
Shutting off the engine.
So much happened.
But because they were able to catch the booster, they will be able to improve on it and fix all the problems. That is the reason why they're testing it.
I am like shaking right now. That was.
Yeah, it's like-
Yeah, it,
look at this. The boost
this
just
is
hanging
nuts.
there.
I mean,
Yeah.
Checking that ship.
it's hard to believe that.
Starship nominal orbit insertion.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
it's Starship
Excitement
Booster.
is there. It's hard to believe that,
Some
you know,
damage
Booster
on the
isn't
edge.
the only excitement that we have.
Oh, yeah.
There's just confirmation
Yeah.
there. A gorgeous
question
view
is,
of
is it
planet
just
Earth
cracked or-
behind
And then you
a
see the
ship.
white
There's
on
some-
the
the-
And
layer.
it's
Yeah, the
now
thermal
in
blanket
the
or whatever
orbit
it
that we
is.
expected it to. This is just an incredible day. Lots
Wow.
of there. Some pressures there. That is a life.
If I'm not mistaken, other rocket companies like Boeing and
volunteers, just like the
Blue Origins and others, they do their testing via simulations.
To my channel for more and follow me
That's why they don't do a lot of launches.
in the description. Thanks for watching.
But SpaceX is different. They like to iterate. They like to test and fail until they succeed. Because it's according to Elon Musk, it's better for the rocket to explode while it's being tested than exploding when it's in actual use. Makes sense. It makes sense. I'd rather see rockets exploding while they're being tested. Anyway, guys, going to end the hour because the hour has ended. That's why I was like having breakfast while doing that. So, guys, thank you for watching. As always, please consider following the channel in Rumble. Go to Rumble. It's rumble.com/caballero/live if you want to see the live stream. Like the video, share it to everyone you know, and if you're in YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, I suggest that you go to Rumble. Go to Rumble because that is my main platform, Rumble. I do get a few views in Rumble. I don't get any views in Twitch, YouTube, or even Kick. In Rumble, I do get a few views, but it doesn't really matter whether I get views or not. I will still keep doing this. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.